Welcome to this final episode of our 80's Rewind cartoon pilot episode rewatches, whatever we're calling it. We are ranking all of the shows we have watched in this series. Right now we have our tier list here, S to F, S being the best that we've watched, F being the worst and we'll never watch again. So we're going to be starting with our first. Do you guys recall what we watched first?
Was
We
it Turtles?
watched. Oh, yep.
Doidles.
Turtles. I don't know about you guys, but I'm firmly in the probably S on this one.
As far as the first episode goes, it did hit some of the marks. I enjoy. This was a two-parter, right? Also,
It's two-parter. Yep.
Did we get Technodrome first episode? Am I right about that?
Yep.
Or was that episode 2?
Well, you get the tease of the Technodrome at the end of the first one, and then you get full tilt in episode 2.
That's what I thought. That we
In
got
the second part.
like an appearance at the end with the tease.
Yep.
do you guys recall some of the criteria that Wilson put down? Some of the things maybe we can highlight for it to
kind of.
bring it up or down in rankings.
I don't remember exactly what Wilson said, but
I don't even know.
In my mind, it's like introducing your characters, the situation, and getting us into an adventure like smoothly, and then like it not be and having solid story beats, and just because the worst thing you want is just a bunch of confusion and not being quite clear what the mission of the show is.
Yeah.
And I think as far as first episodes go, even though it's one of the things we have to contend with is that to a degree is that a lot of these are two-parters, which they would have been shown back to back when they were shown, but we had just already started doing multiple shows where we had just done the first part, so we just kind of kept doing it. But by and large, though, you still have an arc, and I think as far as what you kind of are looking for, this is kind of a standard of what you want.
So I think well, Eric, I think you very fairly pointed out a lot of the more major things that we could look for in every show.
Yeah.
Maybe another addition would be what the intro, because a lot of these have
intros,
a very specific
very important
that Saturday morning toy driven kind of feel to them. So the intro or even just like you said, how straightforward they are, maybe with how quickly they get us into the adventure and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as Turtles goes, it's going to be hard to not have this fall below an A, maybe.
Yeah, at the very least an A for me.
Yeah, I think this could go into S just for it. It is a classic. It is a bona fide classic. The voice cast, the intro. The only thing that personally I would say just being put up against some of these other shows is maybe at times the animation is a little bit simple. I want to try and be constructive here, but
Yep. Oh yeah, it's by far not the prettiest looking one.
Yeah.
But that should not be held against it, I don't think.
No,
it's not.
No. There's worse looking ones on here, so.
Yeah.
And we have those nostalgia goggles. We can put those on and be like, you know what? I don't remember it being bad as a kid, but
right.
Today's standards are kind of heightened, so we have those to contrast it with. But for the time and things like that, we shouldn't hold that against it.
I'd say we can safely put this in S, and if anything really shakes that, we can move it from there.
we can fuck around. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think S seems like a pretty like safe place for that to operate right now.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Turtles hitting the S right off the bat.
Oidles.
Next, you recall what we watched?
Transformers.
Yeah, wasn't it Transformers second?
No, we didn't watch Transformers until like.
Oh, was it
fifth?
Thundercats second?
You're right.
Yeah.
Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Oh man.
All right.
This one, I'll just start out by saying like it was very mid to low for me.
Just are you talking? Yeah, like
Lorem Ipsum, dude?
Yeah, I don't know why we're starting new text.
I'm gonna type something, but
Lorem Ipsum.
Z.
It's beyond text. But
Text beyond text.
are we saying what's that basis on? Just the pilot being not great, or like
the pilot not hitting the marks?
The basis for all of this, yeah. Just the pilot. Basing solely off the pilot.
No, I know, but I mean like I do think that as far as pilots go, that was one of the weaker ones.
Right.
Of just like story, like you said, Bracho, like setting up the characters, setting up the adventure, how quickly we get into it, and it was a 2-parter too, so it didn't help anything.
No, I mean we definitely got a setup of the characters. I don't think we needed as much before getting to Third Earth or whatever.
No.
That spent a little too much time doing that stuff. Of course, like we were talking about, the theme song's a banger, obviously.
Yeah, this is like, I don't know. As far
there's some cool looks, but again, animation's kind of mid, but not the worst that we'll see. Yeah, I'm firmly like a C probably for it. C to B.
I was gonna give it a little bump for B because I can see potential like with my canon where it could go, or like what I like for it to go.
I can see that.
Compared to some of the other stuff too, yeah.
And once again, we can look at it afterwards if we feel like adjusting it, but I'm comfortable with that.
I think without like maybe besides Turtles and like a couple others, it's gonna be a little bit fluid here. Gijo.
Yep.
Gijo. Right. So Gijo.
It's not good.
Gijo's first episode was
not good.
Wacky.
Yeah, this feels like a B, but more like C to me.
C. I'm thinking C right now.
Yeah, like the B was generous in my opinion. Yeah. I started
There's some cool stuff. You can tell there's some cool toys, but that's it right now. Definitely in the C territory for me.
I'm fine with that.
Moment.
It was a spectacle. It was a breakneck pace, I recall.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot
was
to
nothing.
Animation not great. G.I. Joe's a pretty tight. The theme song's pretty fun.
Yep.
They do clearly, obviously, because it's a simple thing, but they do give you the clear lines of who's doing what. I
wish there's a little bit more done with that though. Like,
yeah, you're giving too little time
who they are, but then show
it's just like
me.
Here's me and my toy, and you're like, cool. Here's me and my toy, and you're like, cool.
I want to see Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes go at it.
Same. Yeah. Like
Hey, maybe that's a later episode. You know,
we did talk about that.
Yeah,
comic.
But why not in the first? How about come on?
There's a lot that we talked about and discussed, but the lasting power of the G.I. Joe was like
it is one of the longer lasting ones.
It has the toys to go with it.
The toys were so cool.
Cobra Commander. It has great villains.
Destro, Zartan.
That's not what we're necessarily.
That episode didn't feature enough of it, and there wasn't a lot of stakes, I guess.
The toys were carrying more weight than the show was.
I think that's the general like opus or like onus that we've arrived at is that it holds. We know the potential that it can hold, and even if it's not like the greatest height of heights that a franchise of like 80s can reach, it's iconic as shit, and like the stuff we do want to see is just maybe not there in the pilot.
Right. It's a totally possible.
In the first, I guess, iteration of these that had like the moral story.
Yeah.
Oh,
at the end.
the PSA.
The PSAs, and we there are PSAs that come in the other
What?
things we've watched.
Yeah.
Like I think there was one with this one too.
There was no PSA with
No,
He-Man.
there's no PSA with Masters.
Okay, then it's Silverhawks, I think, or it was
It's
one of them.
no.
No, it was
Mask.
Mask. Yep.
Mask. Yeah.
Don't play in
He-Man.
the streets.
D.
No, this did have a PSA, but it had like
No, it didn't.
it had a moral. Like, yeah, do you remember with the
No. No.
the
It's
wizard?
like a closing scene thing.
Well, it was. I think I'm remembering now. Yeah, it wasn't so much a PSA as it was. Yeah, like a moral lesson.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
don't, don't tell a lie or like some shit like that.
yeah, the stupid wizard Orlok, whatever, like did something stupid. Like, hey, what do you think he should have done?
He took a shortcut to figure something, or I don't know.
It was a
Either way.
little lesson. It told you a
But
lesson.
that speaks to the quality of it, or how much it's stuck in our minds. Is that none of us can fucking remember it if there was or was not one. You know.
That's why I'm saying D.
I would go with that. And
Cool looking characters. Skeletor's tight.
Skeletor's
Skeletor.
Skeletor
but, like,
made it for me.
But yeah, the rest of it,
Adam's
not much.
stupid Bob and chest
Yeah.
accurate, like harness and
Was this the one with the guy that goes like
Barbarian
I'm
Craze.
Charlie in the box? Ugh. Like he was that wizard? Was that
Excuse
him?
me?
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
No, I
from this.
don't know. I don't think so. But D.
An Island of Misfit Toys. I don't
The
remember.
guy,
in
no,
He-Man.
the guy who did that voice, he was the stupid wizard that they kind of like tried to help.
Oh
no,
yeah,
that was not this.
It was.
What?
Was
it?
He had
It
a
was this,
stupid
yeah.
white beard,
Yeah, you're right.
and he's like, "I
'Cause
need
that felt
help
like-
to do
That
this."
felt like not Hanna
And again,
Barbera, but like something.
that's why this is
just
a D.
out of the place.
animation's not good in it either. You know, it's
Yeah,
It's just all-
incongruent He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
yeah. There's a spark of an idea there, which is why we keep going back to it. But just fucking
Hey, the important thing that people want to see is that evil skeleton man. You know.
yeah, dude, he's great.
He was
That's
great.
great, dude.
He was a highlight for me.
Transformers next.
Now it's Transformers.
A.
More than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye, which is
I think
one
it-
of my
I think
tier list rankings. Was
Yeah.
it was going to be More Than Meets the Eye, being like
Well,
B
that-
or A.
See, that's why I what like the simplicity is more than meets the eye. To me, denotes that it is a rank of we got to take another look at it. It's like
Yeah.
we got to
There's
come
more
back to
there.
this one. Yeah, like
Uh,
I'll never feel fully settled with that.
So for me, this ticks most of the boxes that we want. I think it's clearly defined. I think there's an interesting enough story set up. We meet our dudes. We know the stakes. There's just bits and bobs here and there that either it's a little stilted at times or like, human characters always kind of suck. But I enjoyed it. The theme song's banging. Good voice cast. Yeah, so it's like I think Turtles did it a little better.
I could,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I think I like fully pick up what you're putting down, Eric.
Yeah.
This really I completely agree with the A. Maybe even come up this one up to S.
Yeah. I could, if we were doing half tiers, I would do SA on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One thing to me that Transformers is bringing to the table is the iconic and classic voice actors of
Yep.
like so many a lot of these shows have a lot of the same voice actors, but this is
Yeah.
just like a collection of the ones that like Soundwave,
Well, they're still doing it, man.
Megatron, Optimus Prime. Yeah, and they're still doing it, and it's
The designs are so cool too. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm fine with keeping
Yeah.
it at S.
Okay.
It has that lasting power too. Like it's when I think of these shows, I do think Turtles and Transformers had the longevity and lasted long, and they had that cultural impact. But also, like, the first episode is what we're going by, and from what I remember, I really enjoyed the first episode of Transformers.
Like you said, Eric, like, even if they don't need to go out of the way and say, like, this is Soundwave and he's a Decepticon, you kind of like just know who's who by what they do and how they speak to each other and stuff.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Here's something that I'd like to bring up for our tier list as we kind of queue up the next one. Unless anybody else has anything else to say about Transformers.
Nope, just that the voices too are iconic, and
you already said that.
But yeah,
Frank
I'm reiterating that because I do think that more than any of these, the most prominent voice, if you just heard it, you'd be like, "That's Optimus." Boom.
Yeah. Like G.I. Joe, the only voice I think of is Cobra Commander.
Thundercats. Cobra Commander.
But I would have to listen a little.
Lion-O.
I'd have to listen a little bit carefully because, like, Cobra Commander and Skeletor, I might.
Skeletor from Master of the Universe. Yeah.
Well, there was also
Transformers got a wide variety of voices.
Well, there's a lot of crossover too. Like, the guy who did Skeletor was also in, was it Mask that I picked up on?
I think
it was maybe Mask.
Maybe. And then guy who was Mum-Ra was in Galaxy Rangers.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of these guys. And then the guy who's Cobra Commander is Starscream in Transformers. You know what I mean? Like,
so
all over the place.
One thing that I would like to point out about this tier list is, I know we're doing this on pilots, but it just is it's interesting to me that my exposure, even though we've got things where they are right now, if we're just going by like what I've had the most exposure to, I think I might, like, change the positioning of Thundercats, because that's the one out of these, not that I grew up with the most, but I got seasons, I don't know, 1 through 3 on DVD in, like, I don't know, middle school or like early in high school or something like that.
I remember those at your place.
Yeah, that's like the only reason that I would like have any more affinity for that show than any of these others. None of these did I grow up watching. Not Turtles, not Transformers, or really.
I have affinity for I have a pretty high affinity for Thundercats and G.I. Joe too. Even though, like I said, pilot wise and overall quality is probably not great, but I liked both of those when I was younger.
I mean,
what about you, Tyler? Like, what would you say is your most exposed?
Well, when we talked about G.I. Joe, before Turtles, even, it was a show that was on before Turtles that I recall, and the toy, obviously, of G.I. Joe was prior to Turtles, or predates a lot of these, but that was one of my first toys that I, told you guys that story of, like, my sister used it for her Ken doll because it was the bigger G.I. Joe. But then
the OGs.
I'm fine with
the OG G.I. Joe.
I'm fine with leaving G.I. Joe where it's at now, even though I recall watching some of the show, but as far as first episodes go, it's a no Joe for me. But
I don't think there's reason to move any of these.
Well, the funny thing is, I have better recollection of watching episodes of all of these more than Turtles, because Turtles, the OG Turtles, went off syndication like 95 or something like that, 96 or something, and so I was 5-6 years old. I watched a bunch of it then, but like these other things like Transformers, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, He-Man, these were playing like late night on Cartoon Network when I was older, probably in my 10 to 12 years old. So I have more like active memories of watching those shows over Turtles, but I love Turtles. I love Turtles.
There we go. Next one though.
Silverhawks.
That was Silverhawks. Yep, another one where it's similar to Thundercats.
And then we recently rediscovered another one. Something sharks.
Yeah, tiger sharks.
So we got land, air, and
Something
water.
sharks.
I would put Silverhawks in.
I'm either B or C for me.
C, probably. I don't know. It's hard for me to remember that pilot.
It was one of the.
That should say something right there.
We said it was very like a.
His first episode is hell. That's what I remember.
Very first episode is hell. First episode syndrome, where it's.
I want to say C.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a name out there, Broadshow, that you might recall. Mumbo Jumbo.
Oh, dude, my boy Mumbo Jumbo.
So I'm leaning for.
Oh yeah, Wilson wasn't here for this one. Wilson wasn't here for this one.
See that's I'm not really weighing in on this because the pilot I have. Yep.
Tyler.
What?
Still saying C.
You're still saying C with Mumbo Jumbo?
Yep. Loved Mumbo Jumbo. One of my favorite
Mumbo
things
Jumbo
I've ever
can't
seen.
elevate at one letter grade.
No, but it can't. I'm sticking hard on C, my guy. We can split it if you feel strongly B. We can split it.
I'd say there's got to be more than
pretty
just Mumbo
strongly
Jumbo.
I'm thinking of I'm weighing the options of the first episode. We watched the first episode of it. I don't think it was as breakneck and crazy as G.I. Joe.
No, it's more Thundercatsy.
And it was very first episode-y.
It was, but that wasn't a compliment when I said it. When I said it was first episode as hell, I meant it was a generic first episode. It just hit every beat a generic first episode should. I think it wasn't a two-parter, if I remember correctly. I think that was just a single story. I enjoyed it.
Here's something that I know that I didn't see Silverhawks, but I've always felt this, and I just want to throw it out. Is how do we feel about the crossover between this, Mask, even Galaxy Rangers, Thundercats? There's of the dynamic of team leader, lady, edgelord, or the more badass one, the bigger guy, the smaller person.
Yeah.
How many of these teams did I just describe?
I know all of them for the most part.
Which I know that that's kind of no duh, but
okay, yeah.
I feel like
this is definitely
out of any of them, Silverhawks kind of gets made up lost in the mix.
I'm reading the plot descriptor, and I'm remembering stuff about there's the beginning where they introduce every single bad guy, and then later in the episode they do the same exact thing where they have the scene where Monstar, the bad guy, and busting out all the bad guys, and they introduce all of them and shit.
Yeah, do you remember some of them? I know we talked about Mumbo Jumbo being...
Mumbo Jumbo is my favorite, don't get me wrong. I love that boy.
Mumbo Jumbo is nothing to seize it.
What did they describe him as? The big man of the group, or the gang, or what was it?
Oh yeah, so pretty much. It's just everyone else is this one's a smart guy that does this and this, and this guy does this and this. Mumbo Jumbo's here. It's pretty much
strong man of the mob. Yeah,
he's the strong man. Yeah,
strong
there he
man
is.
Of the mob.
Mumbo Jumbo. Yep, strong man of the mob. Mumbo Jumbo, strong man of the mob. That's it.
The rogues gallery of the bad guys that show up. We had the popcorn looking guy, Adam. What was his name? I forget, but he looked just like a cluster of popcorn. And then they had this guy with a
molecular dude.
Molecular.
That's the guy. That's the guy that's voiced by the guy who played Goose in Galaxy Ranger and was Doug's dad on Doug.
And then we had a big guy with a tuning fork.
Buzzsaw, Poker Face, Time Stopper, Zero the Memory Thief, Smiley, Dark Bird, Buzzsaw, Windhammer, Melodia, Hardware, Yes Man, and Monstar. Yeah,
I don't know. I'll keep it on the line.
I'll keep it on the line. Very strongly about seated.
I just don't think it's at a
It
G.I.
was
Joe
not good.
level.
It was not good. Yeah, I can see. That's why I'm like leaving it in between. I'm okay with that right now. I'm fine with that.
Okay. I think we do need to kind of, split the difference sometimes, because it's not quite C level to me, but
Yeah,
I
we
can see
both have
what you're
strong feelings
saying.
on it, so we can split it.
There was
since
just
we both have
things
strong
that
feelings.
lasted with me, or like stuck with me when we watched it, because it was an interesting watch, dynamically with like us. Like G.I. Joe was just like, I can't understand what's happening, it's just going too fast. And we were all watching that and being like, yeah, we're all kind of getting that whiplash from it. But Silverhawks, when we watched it, it was like the camaraderie, or like, the discussion of it as we were watching it made it last longer with me, and like that brings it to that level.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so we'll just jump to the next one, which is, if you recall, Voltron.
I'm gonna say D. That's my like opening.
This is the first
salvo
one
here.
This is the first one I could see creeping into F.
Yeah, maybe.
I love Voltron. Love it.
Same.
Love it. But the show itself is already a right over of another pre-existing show that's completely different. And it is, like we were talking about, it's the leader, secondary guy, little boy, big guy, lady team situation. It wasn't very good. The story was all over the place.
It was
reused animation over and over again because they were just like doing things to make something fit.
Yeah,
I would say they had the hurdy birdie, and weird voices, voice choices for some of the characters. Did not
just
like
so many small, like not even cut corners, but just they didn't go any farther than they really had to.
Yeah,
because they just had a thing already there, and they just fucking
get it out
on top of it.
So we're going D or F.
At least, at most a D. I could even say F on this.
I would say let's put it in F.
It's F.
There's like
the only thing that really holds it D is just because I just love the concept. But we have a good Voltron show now.
I'll just say it was confusing too, trying to find the iteration that we watched, because I was like, is this the right one? I don't know, because of the different, I don't know.
That was G-Force that we had trouble with.
Was that the one? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Which is next.
Yeah.
I don't know
which that
was
one
like, we watched.
They did the 70s one called Battle of the Planets.
Yeah.
And that's the one you had queued up initially.
Right.
I think Internet Archive saved us on that one again.
True.
Then we got G-Force. G-Force was weird because the first episode aired in the US was like episode 36 or something. The episode they used as a pilot was like episode 36, and then like the second one was like episode 52 or something like that. And then later they go back and start numerically, but it's weird. But I thought, so by nature, it wasn't a first episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't introduce anybody. The stakes weren't set necessarily. It was a open shut adventure, which I think is why they did it as a first thing, because they could just show, here's everything. Here's the people. Here's their costumes. Here's them doing their thing in a complete story. Boom. So I liked the animation.
Yep.
The story was easier to follow than Voltron, because that was the thing with G-Force too, was like Battle of the Planets was kind of a Voltron situation. Not completely, but kind of. G-Force, they stuck more closely to the original. This one,
I'm leaning towards A or B for this one.
I was gonna say B. What do you think, Wilson?
B or A might be good too, because this.
Yeah,
it was
did
like
slap. It did slap.
Yeah, it was like one of those. It hit just the right balance of simplicity and like an earnestness. I'm not sure how to put it really.
The group dynamic was
genuine.
good.
It was
A good
genuine.
highlight. I liked the different plot points where we had Ken or Eagle and the other kind of the badass dude. They show up at that base in the Arctic or whatever in the snow, and know, they have that kind of confrontation with those guys. That was a standout scene for me. It was kind of, it showed off the dynamic. It showed off our owl guy being like, oh, I gotta stay on the ship, and it shows everybody's different.
Hootie?
Yeah, Hootie. They're different specialties and things like that. It made me want to watch the movie too. It made me want to go and watch some other Gotcha Force stuff.
Oh, that OVA thing that Wilson had.
I watched so much of that. It was so good.
Yeah, so did I. I watched so much. Like it was like a 3-parter kind of
costumes,
thing.
Like I said, fucking. It is again the leader guy, secondary leader guy, big guy, little boy, lady team. But this one I think did it better.
It did better than any of the other ones underneath it. Yeah, for sure.
Which is most of them.
Yeah, like this. It really. And again, I can't really say exactly why, but I felt like, it was. I was like, oh, I've seen this plenty of times, but this is the one that stands out the most, or the one that feels like the prime example of it. Of like, leader, secondary, big guy, little guy, lady.
Now, the only thing that kind of why I said B right away is the fact that it isn't a first episode. It's not a pilot. That's only the circumstance of that we were given, you know what I mean? Because that's how it was aired here. But it doesn't have a lot of the pilot stuff that the rest have, which is fine. But that's why that's the only thing that like pushed me B more initially, was just the fact that technically it wasn't a pilot, and we don't get a lot of the pilot stuff. That
I think that's a fair observation, but even taking that into account, is that something to bring it down to B, or just
no? On second thinking, as we're talking about it, no, I was like, yep, this definitely A.
I feel very, very good about that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Captain Planet.
Oh yeah, he's our hero, dude. Good.
He's our hero.
Back to 0.
Hey, the power is yours.
Power's yours, dude.
I like this one. I think it's
me too.
A or S. I
would say A.
Yeah. I was gonna say A or B.
Just because there's definitely times where we were like, yeah, A or B was where I was sitting too. That's so like A, I'm good with. That there's definitely some wonky things of like, that we pointed out that are, it's minor little things, but we're like, why the fuck did Wheeler have to use his firepower to blow off a helicopter door? Or like,
we should mention that this is a 90s property.
It is technically the 90s, yes.
Production in late 80s, but it does have a 90s.
Culture is still rooted in the 80s, right? The 90s culture hasn't come through yet, but
yeah.
And I will point out that we had a hell of a time with Eric just rambling off all the different stars that popped into the show right off the bat. There was Ed Asner right off the bat. Whoopi Goldberg. He mentioned
Whoopsie.
Jeff Goldblum shows
Sting.
up. Sting shows up.
Yeah,
so many different people.
Dennis Hopper, I think, too.
What?
Yeah.
We're still surprised at the stars that pop into this show.
Hey, we're the Planeteers. You can be one too.
And we'll move on.
Planet is the thing to do, dude.
Yes. Let's go A for Captain Planet. That seems like a very appropriate place to put that.
And then we have Mask.
I enjoyed this a lot more. I had never seen it, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I had ever thought I would.
Yeah, I don't think it's a C or a B for me.
As in, you did like it less than a C or B?
I'm saying that it's either an S or an A for me.
Yeah.
As far
Yeah.
as like, transforming
I would-
vehicles go, this was a lot different than Transformers.
I could be okay with putting it in S. That's what I'm saying. I could be okay with that. If anybody feels strongly that way.
There wasn't
I'm down.
anything that I can think right off the bat that made it bring it down from,
There was some cool animation.
The transformations were
I like-
cool.
Yeah.
This one did have the moral towards the end that's a little bit
We had
different than G.I. Joe. Don't run in the
Faithfully
street.
meets Crocodile or Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
That's right.
Combo song.
Yeah, this one had like a fucking slapper of a hook.
Yeah. Dude.
Okay,
I'm okay with that. I would say I'm very, very comfortable with an A, but I'm cool with an S.
I would almost feel better with an A, only because I feel like we should reserve S for the most exemplary of like. Because if anything, I feel like put Mask in A, move G-Force up to S. If we're talking about something being an S that is not currently there, that would be my thought. I thought the Mask was a lot of fun. Good animation, good theme song with no exposure to it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it did not give me the same kind of enjoyment, and it did not leave me wanting more in the ways that some of these other ones did. So I want it to like hit higher marks for it to be an S.
Therefore, I really get why then it's like, yeah, we should kind of reserve S for truly S, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying. So, okay, cool, yeah.
I'm
I'm
fine
good
with
with
it being A.
Yeah. All right.
The most recent one we watched.
Most recent one. There's some recency bias. But,
we all
like this.
entered into this with a fresh set of eyes, relatively,
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be an F for sure.
Yeah,
Just some yeehaw ass dudes in space, like
ass dudes.
but
Some
That's exactly what this poster
bridal
sells.
ladies.
yeah,
It is selling that right now.
Dude. Okay,
but
holy
shit,
at least a B. I'm gonna say for
very nice, dude.
For
The
us,
animation
like, just coming in on this
might be the best. The animation might be the best out of all of these.
I would bump it to A.
I would too. I'm okay with that.
And like the story was clean enough, right? It's a clean story. It's an origin story for our main boy.
It's fairly
it's
fairly simple.
It doesn't set up everybody, but it's got really good animation. It's got cool character designs. And it, like I said, after if you listen to our video about that, I was saying like it's one of the few that I'm like, I want to watch more of this. Like it actively makes me want to watch more. So if we're going, it's definitely A for me. It's a high A. Like it's super cool.
It's tipping up there. It's
tipping.
on the rise.
The teeters are tipping. Teeters are tipping.
I think one thing that I am now like looking at each of these shows and holding them to a new metric is this. If somebody either suggested, hey, would you like to have this put on, or if you just walk into the scenario of it just being on, how likely am I to become engaged with it, or to just like completely not engage with it? You know? Yeah. And I think where we have stuff sitting right now is a very good representation of that. Yeah,
definitely. Like all of these I'd leave on, but how hard am I paying attention? You know what I mean?
Voltron, I would probably, I'd be like, oh, Voltron, and then I'd find something else.
Cool. And then I just space out on my phone or something.
I can spend my time better than Voltron.
Yeah, by watching the Netflix Voltron TV show.
by watching fucking Adventures of
Is that
Galaxy
one really
Rangers.
Yeah, that too.
That was a sleeper. That was a sleeper hit. It's it didn't have it. The only reason why, like we said before, it's not going to S. Like it could be there, but it needed that one extra
That
little
intro's
garnish
little
of like a notable voice cast or like something that really bumps it up to that level.
Cherry Orbot?
But like that makes it like as prominent, like with the toys,
the voices themselves.
The turtles and the nostalgia, and we even mentioned in the episode.
It didn't have the.
It is a very fine balance of a stew to make an S tier or like a superior episode of this like 80s cartoon pilot. But I think like we've had here, like with Turtles and Transformers, there's only 2 up in S because like taking away their staying power maybe of any of these franchises, those 2 really do kind of put some of the strongest foot forwards, just being like the sum of their parts.
Right.
So that feels good there.
Yeah,
I agree. That feels good.
It feels good.
I'm comfortable with
this.
this.
I like how that feels.
We do have a floater of Silverhawks kind of in a Schrodinger's tier float here.
Yeah.
Can I ask some like devil's advocate questions to sway to see if you guys like, fall one way or another? So let me just like specifically call it out against metrics that we're holding others against. So starting at the beginning, what about the intro of Silverhawks compared to the intro of other episodes on this list?
It's literally just a mirrored version of the Thundercats theme song. Like
That's
follow the same.
It's like
they follow the same like fucking like beats.
Silverhawks, Thundercats, like similar to that. Rankin Bass also.
It's got a similar thing with that. So
is there one that maybe did it better than the other? If they are so similar, is there one that was possibly like superior to the other?
What did we equate that to, Bracho? When we talked about Silverhawks, like Thundercats is like Flintstones and Silverhawks is like Jetsons because Thundercats was very primitive.
I see that.
And then Tiger Sharks.
Holy shit, that is like horrifying.
In the thing. That's Tiger Sharks.
That's a whole new we got to spend an entire session on just that.
Yeah, that's its own thing. That's a special presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so.
And then, I think
the characters outside of my boy Mumbo Jumbo, I think the characters are more memorable in Thundercats than Silverhawks. Like Mumra. Mumra is definitely a more memorable villain to me than fucking Monstar. Although there's a couple times Monstar does look pretty cool.
Monstar was a cool design.
He did look metal as fuck, don't get me wrong.
We didn't really see a whole lot of Mumra in the pilot of Thundercats either.
We did. In the second part, we would have.
Right.
First part, we definitely didn't. Otherwise, the rest of the villains I wasn't too hype on. And the
guys are kind of like...
I like the design of Thundercats, like the characters of Thundercats better too. Like our main characters and like their whole thing. That's why I was saying I'm pretty firmly a C guy for Silverhawks, but Tyler's pretty firmly a B guy.
Having not been present for that episode and only speaking for Thundercats, looking back on Thundercats, it kind of is like a rather weak presentation for a pilot with all, like you said, Eric, all the stuff that happens before Third Earth or whatever it's called. Of being on the ships, and it takes so long to get to anything, and then the Mumra is really just a tease at the very end. So just talking about Thundercats, I could maybe see that moving down to C, and like Silverhawks ascending up to B in the conversation between those two. But it's like weighing something of like an unknown versus a known.
I can totally relent, and like I just started watching the Silverhawks theme song again. I posted it in Command Center there if you wanted to look at it, Wilson. But I was just like, yeah, this was actually pretty cool, except for their little kid character.
Who just
remember
beeps.
The voice for that thing?
It just beeps, right?
It was some weird fucking like filter on it, and it did just like or some shit. That thing sucked. I hated that.
That was a weird thing. It was an alien monkey.
I hated that.
Bronze boy. I forgot what it was.
Little, bronze orange thing.
Yeah, it was like Copper Kid or something was his name.
Yep.
That I fucking
worse
hated.
Than Snarf.
That makes me almost want to put it back and see.
Close to Snarf, not quite
Dude,
Snarf tier.
I think it's more grating than Snarf.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I mean, Eric, you are just like very, very on point with this being 100%. Like putting these next to each other.
Is in such close
Name
contact
of
with the
show.
skin.
Yeah,
And
name of
it's
show, but also like the beat for hitting the
Name of show. It is literally the same. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, gosh, I don't know how to do like a sudden death or like coin flip or anything like that, but
I will say that the Copper Kid wasn't a highlight of the first episode. When it did talk, it was jarring. I will give Bradshaw that, but it wasn't as prominent of a snarf. I'm gonna have my own side plot. Like the Copper Kid was kind of just like there. It didn't like do a whole lot of like other things other than like help the dynamic, but like Snarf would just go off and do its own thing and have its own wisecracks and crap like that. Copper Kid just didn't do that. Just was there.
How about these two things here,
Wilson? This is important for you to understand. All right,
you need to.
This is here. Right here. This just gets to the point. Listen to this.
Oh goodness!
Piece of shit, dude.
What is this?
I hate it. It's just I needed to find something where he spoke, so Wilson could hear it.
Take her in on the solar system.
Okay.
Okay, now head.
It sounds like techno garble.
Oh, why?
A quick quiz. Which planet is this?
So.
You're right, kid. Earth. That was too easy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That is very. That gets old fast. Real fast.
I hate it.
Earth is a
I was almost. I might have to bring it back down to a C.
But Bradshaw, I just said the first episode didn't feature
close.
that a lot to like make that decision.
It did, dude. I remember.
Even just a little bit
watching
can
it.
go a long way.
Mumbo Jumbo and our
remember
discussion
watching.
of that was more prominent in our episode of our review of it than us talking
It
about
was all
Copper Kid.
cool.
And I do agree
It was
with
all
you.
cool until I saw the picture of that thing, and then in the intro, and it all came flooding back to me. And fucking,
I'm not relenting. I am not. Because
right after I relented
back
to go to
Okay,
see it,
so
and watch
I
our
wanna
episode.
go to see it.
Let's talk
Watch
about something
our
else
episode.
about these two things.
I hate it. I hate that thing.
I do too. And I'm
Each
not
of them-
going to disagree with, like, I do hate that thing. I wish it didn't exist in this universe.
Righty boys.
But I am totally fine because the focus
Yeah.
of our talk just divulged into, or
Sure.
it like evolved into just
It
mumbo
was a good
jumbo.
time. Yeah. Mumbo Jumbo's my
Each-
boy. I do
each
love
of
him.
these
He might make
shows
that work. Maybe.
has pretty lady.
Yeah.
Who's the prettier lady, Chitara or the
Chitara.
Silverhawks?
I'm not gonna say.
Chitara.
I'm not gonna
He's-
say that.
Why?
I'm not gonna jump into fetishes and things
This
like
isn't
that.
fucking. Who's fetishizing anything? I'm just.
You just said you put down like the hot.
Who's the prettier
hot-
lady,
Who's the
dude?
prettier lady?
It's definitely Chitara.
Okay.
Chitara's got more of a personality too than
So
the old girl
well,
on
and
here.
even character that goes above just like design.
She's definitely as we were talking about the 80s, like
Fucking Chitara's 80 as fuck.
like the 80s like standard of that team dynamic that we were talking about: leader, secondary leader, big guy, little person, and then fucking girl, right?
Yeah.
And Chitara's not girl. She definitely has more character.
They
Sure.
missed some kind of opportunity with like featuring the Thundercats on a series of those like milk posters. Because you
Oh,
could have
yeah.
Chitara just like running over, like jumping over a hurdle on a track with a bunch of runners and like got milk. Panthro
Yep.
just like lifting weights. Like everybody's doing different stuff that they're specialized in and got milk. But okay, Thundercats had the character Jaga, which was like a
Yep.
Obi-Wan wise man. Did Silverhawks have anything like that?
Yes.
Uh,
It had
yeah.
an eye patch
Oh,
guy.
snap.
What was that? Was he the eye patch guy? He was on the screen and he talked to the Silverhawks from like an Earth base.
he was
or
like their
something.
commander. Yeah.
Mm.
He wasn't as much a spiritual leader as he was a military leader type situation.
Well,
Yeah,
one
was there
one
like a
can
Spock
sound
guy too, like a guy with the big nose and he looked like Spock a little bit.
Oh, Spock guy! I forgot about Spock guy.
See,
One
that's
of
the
the
thing.
shows-
That's the thing with this Thundercats. We all have the history of knowing the the greatness of what Thundercats can reach, but as far as first episodes go, you don't get a semblance of a character like a Chitara or any of the side characters. You just get like a Lion-O perspective of like his upbringing and how he got on the third Earth or whatever they called it, the third rock. But like.
So,
It's the same with Silverhawks. We just get a semblance of the main guy. We don't get a good fleshed out version of Steelheart and Steel Will and Copper Kid or any of them. We just get
yeah,
bad
they're all
guy,
metal names. Metal
bad guy,
names are pretty
good guy for Thundercats, and bad guy and good guy for Silverhawks. Like that's all you get in the first episode. But we know
Right.
from our nostalgia goggles and like our knowledge of Thundercats, like it was probably more prominent than Silverhawks. It had probably a bigger following and cultural relevance than Silverhawks because of all the different dynamics and the characters and in that. But I'm just looking at it from the first episode. They're very similar. They are like two sides of the same coin because they're Rankin Bass. They're descriptor and name of thing. It's just like Silver Hawks, Thunder Cats, Tiger Sharks, even though that's
Right.
two animals. But I'll just leave it at that. I'm fine with it just floating on B. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's things I did like in our discussion of it.
Oh yeah, me too.
There's things that bring it above Thundercats for me as far as
Yeah,
first
I can
episodes
see
go
that.
because of our
can see
discussion.
that.
There's elements of it that will bring it down because what we focused on in our discussion wasn't Copper Kid. We both hated that thing, but we both hate
Yeah.
Snarf. So like
That's true.
that's why it's at equal, or like it doesn't go down to this because it wasn't as jarring as the breakneck speed of G.I. Joe, and the only thing that G.I.
All right.
Joe really had going for it was Cobra Commander and the bad guys.
You convinced me. Put it to B.
All right,
Put it to B.
that's fine.
You're bringing up some good points there at the end there too. Yeah, put it to B. I like it.
And I do like the discussion, and I do like, having those combative moments where we can kind of flesh out, the significance of, we went into this from our rankin' of our Christmas specials. And the thing that's great about this is that we're continuing the rankin' within Thundercats and Silverhawks, because both were produced by Rankin and Bass.
And the special presentation, Tiger Sharks.
That we might get to that. Who knows?
We might do that. Might be that just looks like a whole situation, which might be necessary.
Just so people can be aware, this is what we're discussing, or this is what you might have to look forward to, or not. It's very strange.
Who knows, dude?
I don't know. That walrus guy looks kind of interesting. That octopus girl is sending some vibes.
Yeah, dude. And like walrus guy, what's that about?
He's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah,
Diabetes.
some of these designs are just so jarring. It's like they got the animal thing right with Thundercats. They kept a good consistency with fucking Silverhawks, and then they shit out whatever this is.
This is the remainder. This is everything that didn't make it into the funnel.
Oh boy,
all the cocaine spillover.
The middle guy, like, he's fine, right?
Totally fine.
Shark guy's fine, but then like old boy, that's Dolphin on the far right.
That's fucked.
That's
really fucked.
The like weird other dude that's like second from the left. That guy's fucking like shit.
Whale, maybe.
Yeah, I don't. Those are both just no. I'm good.
Dude who's like second in from the left. Is that supposed to be like a fucking shrimp, or like what the fuck is that?
I know, like everyone else is pretty clear. This guy just looks like I'm a guy that lives in the water.
Yeah,
he's like a hip '80s creature from the Black Lagoon. You know what I mean? Like he's got those type of ears.
He's like an '80s aquatic, like Link. Somebody saw the fucking Legend of Zelda cartoon.
That's what they remind
Mario
me
Brothers.
of. The fucking what's it called? The Zoras, yeah. But dude in the middle, fine. Chick on far left, fine. And then it's everybody else around. Dude, even Wilford Brimley, dude, I'm down for him.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, Sonic the Hedgehog as hell, though. Rotor,
oh yeah, dude, he's cool. But then we started
on the far right.
Lady.
Just like cursed as shit.
Dolphin man with hair. Nah, I'm good. Orca person. No, that's weird.
Get him out.
And then like fucking, I'm a guy that would hang out in. I'm a sea, but he looks like a sea monkey. That's what he looks like.
Oh, Jesus.
Looks like the cartoon versions of a sea monkey. You know what I mean? Like those, over 50% of them are garbage.
Anymore. I'm not. Okay. I'm just.
Oh God, he's got the intro.
They're regular people that transform into these things.
Oh no, that's even worse.
It makes it so much worse.
Special presentation. We might have to do it at some point.
We might. Okay, but for this one, if anybody has issues or wants to give their 2 cents of our ranks, let us know. If you agree with this ranking list, let us know that. If you don't, put it down in the comments. Let us know too. Like we said, we probably jump into other nostalgic ranking things of 90s media, or just Disney and Nickelodeon or whatever. Also, let us know if you want to see something different. If we didn't mention things like Saturday morning stuff that you grew up with, like on Fox. I remember that was a big thing too. There's a big Fox block of things that we could also dive into. Just let us know.
I was thinking too, like anthropomorphic, like TMNT.
Spin-offs.
Not rip-offs,
yeah, like Street Sharks or Biker Mice.
Street Sharks, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Biker Mice from Mars, SWAT Cats.
Only anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah. Mighty Ducks. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff.
Oh my God, the fucking Mighty Ducks cartoon.
Yeah. Any and all of that.
I remember watching that and trying so hard to figure out what the hell was going on there.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I loved the designs. I had the toys. That's all. But yeah, like something like that would be cool too.
Very
We got
cool.
possibility.
We do have
People
possibilities.
heard our other plans that we could do. You know, we've got a good handful at least that we can do some tier lists for.
Yeah, and I'd say this is a good sample size of some of the 80s, nostalgic things that have grown up and have, lasted in the cultural zeitgeist, like we said. So some of these, a lot of people might not be aware of, or, I mean, in, who is it, Eric, you work with, was it your boss that got into Mask?
Yeah. Big Mask fan.
So, I mean, even that, like, I didn't know a whole lot about Mask, but there are some devoted people that, still continue to either revisit it or watch it. Yeah, and it was a surprise. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any and all of those things, let us know in the comments, and we'd be happy to visit them and discuss them. So, I'll say thanks for watching this.
Tiger by the tail. Baby, Tiger Shark. Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy singing the Tiger Sharks theme song.
God.
It is again a similar format to the other two.
So similar. Like it's
but
15 seconds long.
Guys, we gotta save it. We gotta save it.
All the animation, it's just them turning into the other things, and then them becoming human again. That's the only thing that happens in the intro.
We're giving too much away. We gotta do a first-hand
special presentation.
This is a treat for next time. This is getting the people excited.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. It's the little bonus, the non-bonus bonus.
Guy is gonna like just disturb me for days until we get more. Even when we get more information, it's gonna like up the ante. But until then, I'm gonna keep thinking about this damn dolphin man.
I'm gonna get the bleach ready. I'm gonna get the bleach and the eye scrubbers ready. I'm excited. So
somebody get the Japanese fisherman on the horn.
Thanks everybody for watching this. If you did, just let us know by leaving a like or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Hope you enjoyed our discussions of all these, and we'll be back with something different. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.